So one of the questions that we've been asked a lot when we are talking to some of our clients and many people, when we're doing our road shows around financial sustainability and coaching and building financial capacity and capabilities, we found that the common question that it's always asked, it's how do you make your passion, how do you convert your passion into a financial powerhouse? And most of the time we are asked this question predicated on the view that successful entrepreneurs always argue that you need to do what you love and build it into a successful business. So we thought today, let's tackle this subject. Let's talk about how do you make your passion, how do you convert your passion into a financial powerhouse? Now, surprisingly, none of the elements that we're going to talk about have got anything to do with finance, or they've got anything to do with numbers. And maybe what we need to say up front, it's finance and numbers are a resultant of a machinery that works. If you are able to get the machinery well and to get the machinery to work, then building financial capacity and financial capabilities for yourself as an entrepreneur or for the entity becomes a byproduct. But be that as it may, there are certain things that we would like to share with you on how do you make your passion into a financial powerhouse. The first one and key to all of them is identify your zone of genius. Yes, identify the zone of genius. What is a zone of genius? All of us have a particular talent that we have that is not possessed by any other person. How funny that sounds, but it's true. So how do you know, or how do you find out what your zone of genius? The best way we can explain finding your zone of genius is when you look at two metrics. You're looking at the results or the performance that you can deliver against the effort that you need to put in realizing those results. Now, at a very low end, it's what we call the zone of incompetence, where you need to put more effort and the results are still mediocre. It doesn't really matter how hard you are working, how hard you are putting effort through exposure and experience and other related things, but the results that you are receiving are still very low. So when you move across to where you put in some effort and your results starts to look better, that's when you move into the zone of competence. This is an area where many skilled administrators, many skilled specialists operate in. With effort, the results get better. But the zone of genius, it's when you put less, or you don't even have to put effort, but the results of what you're doing are beyond average. You attain superfluous results, performance of what you're doing without having to put more effort in it. So the zone of genius, it's you finding out for yourself, what is it that I do with little to no effort and I'm achieving the greater results? Maybe if I could, using the sports people, I would like to argue and think that maybe in the early ages, renowned sports people like Usain Bolt will still achieve the result that he used to achieve, even though he was not putting much effort. So find your zone of genius, because this is where you just find yourself in the zone of delivering consistently better results. without having to put more effort. The second thing that we need to be cognizant of in building a passion into financial powerhouse, it's build the relationships. Build relationships, build networks, and build collaborations. Now, in 2021, we are not in a time where you can do it alone. You can do it alone, but it's going to take more effort, more money, and much time. In this century, individuals, entrepreneurs, and entities are flourishing, leveraging the strengths of networks, leveraging the strengths of collaborations and relationships. But the key in building networks and relationships, it's always what is it that you're bringing to the collaboration? What is your value add into the relationship? Now, what makes relationship works is not what you can get out of them. It's your ability to share with the tribe, with the team, with the collaborators, that which you have in order to complement what they don't have. And maybe when you're talking about that, you also want to ask yourself, once the relationship has grown, what is the return on this collaboration and what is the return on this relationship that I have? And this is where the monetary metrics could come in, because the last thing you want is to be in a network or a relationship that it's giving you negative cash flow. So while it's all in well to build the relationships and collaborations and networks, there's a very fine line in my view that you need to also make sure that these relationships and networks do not drain you and do not drain your resources. Otherwise, you will not be able to then convert your passion into a financial powerhouse. Now, the third thing that you need to do, in my view, and I would like to argue based on the experience, it is what is your value proposition? What is it that when you speak about, what is it that when you present, all of us should stop and pause and listen to you? What is your value proposition? What are you bringing to the table that is adding value to your potential clients? If you don't have clients already, what is it that is going to add value to the networks that you're in? What pain are you addressing? How are you relieving the pain, or how are you increasing the joy that the network or your potential customer has? So it's very important to spend some time and say it for yourself in very simple language and very simple ways. What is my value proposition? What am I bringing to the table in this journey of building financial powerhouse? Now, the fourth thing, which is very surprisingly, and it goes against what we've all been taught. In fact, I would argue it goes against what many have been taught at business schools. Don't sell. Everybody is selling. If you go to any of the professional platforms where professionals and entrepreneurs or business people are connecting, the last thing you want to do right from the onset is to sell. And I'm saying don't sell because everybody is selling. So it is expected that what you want to sell. Unless somebody is really in the looking for selling, and when they are looking for something to buy, in any case, they will find you. You don't need to go and find them. So they will find you and they will buy and they move on. But if you're reaching out, extending your passion, creating it a powerhouse, you don't want to be selling. You want to build rapport, you want to build value, you want to add value to other people, so you don't want to be selling. Selling will be a byproduct of all the activities that we've been doing. A selling will be a natural progression because of the value that you're bringing on the table. So don't sell. So that is number 4. Number 5, while I've said don't sell, communicate your value. What is your value offering? put a value into what you're offering. Now, what I have seen, or I have noted mainly in the startups, some of the startups, and especially around times when there's a recession and or the economic prospects are not good, is there is this notion that you need to, if you price yourself low, then you are affordable, then you are most likely to generate sales. Now, that is wrong. In fact, if you understand your value proposition, that's point number one, and you understand the networks within which you want to participate, you want to use them as lead generations for your entity, either existing or the one that you want to sell. What you might want to do for yourselves in clearly, explicitly, without doubt, say for yourself, in what space I want to operate in. Am I going to operate in a high-ticket offering, or am I going to operate in a low-ticket offering? Am I a mass market player, or I'm going to be playing in the niche area? Maybe let me put the articulation differently. Who wants to buy a cheap Rolls Royce, or who wants to buy a cheap Bentley? Now, it sounds like a cliche, but if your value offering based on your proposition is a high ticket end, the mere fact that you price it incorrectly essentially will be the demise, where you will never see your passion becoming a financial powerhouse. So do your research, understand the industry where you're operating, the markets where you're operating, without really going into details, but have a very clear target where you're playing. Now, let's make an example. If you are in a space of providing learning and development, and you believe that you want to offer a program in masterclass in finance, okay? Now, the least you can do is to look at similar programs in the industry. If it's an online, your industry grows because it's beyond the borders of your domicile, all right? So if on average, the program is offered for, let's say, an argument's sake, a program of 5 days, it's offered at about $50. Why would you want to offer yours at $5? There is a disconnection with your value proposition with what you want to offer, and chances are you will not get the people you're looking for to provide your value proposition. So be very critical and be very clear as to your offering, where is it playing, and then attach the monetary value, the pricing of your value accordingly. And number 6, and the last thing is deliver beyond expectations. Now, you've done all these things. You've found a space where you want to operate. You've built networks and relationships. You have articulated eloquently and clearly what your value proposition is. And you build rapport, you moved away from selling. We now believe in what you want to offer. You have articulated clearly to us what's your value offering. Now here, there's a potential for conversion. In fact, you've converted. You need to deliver beyond expectations that which you promised to deliver. You need to do it once. You need to do it twice. You need to do it all the times. The first time you start doing it, and do it consistently, irrespective of who the client is. Once you do that, you will find that the need for extended hours of marketing are not necessary, because your value delivery becomes your marketer. What you do becomes what it's spoken about in the industry and what you do. And maybe the last one as a bonus is you're not going to convert your passion into a powerhouse when you're sitting in your little environment and you're not engaging and exposing yourself. Now, where life has moved beyond brick and mortar and most of the life is really happening online and virtually, you need to be very active in the industries, in the platforms that are talking about the kind of value that you're providing. Be there, get to be known, engage, respond to questions, provide solutions. This is how you're building for yourself a brand, so that when people are looking for this brand next time, they can come to you. I hope these points that I've shared with you, as you can realize by themselves, they've got absolutely nothing to do with finance and money, but the financial spin-off become the results of, in my view, consistently engaging with these points that I shared with you. If you really want to engage, more with me and want us to have more conversation, please feel free to drop an email, and then we can have a fair conversation. And you can find me on drmayer@financium.com. Until we meet next time, think about it, take your passion and convert it into a financial powerhouse.